this is Kenny and Letitia Vallone from Elderberry Creek Farms, here today to answer some questions that we've received from some of our viewers concerning homesteading, off-grid, and what it means to be self-sufficient. So we're going to look at those three things today and talk about the differences between them and try to put ourselves in one of those categories if we can. What does off-grid mean to you, Letitia?
I think off-grid is where you're not hooked up to water, electric, phone, internet, stuff like that.
Where no planes and cars are driving by while you're filming?
Yeah, that too. So I'd have to say the most off-grid I've ever seen anybody was when visiting Morocco or Ecuador. These people lived out in the middle of nowhere. They didn't have resources or anything. They were pretty self-sufficient, and I'd say that would be off-grid. So our family's definitely not anywhere near off-grid. We have electricity, we have rural water, we have internet, we have a TV in the house. So we're not off-grid, but is that something we want to do someday?
Well, I consider what we do more homesteading. Homesteading is a general term that, although it can mean living like pioneers used to live, really any place where you dwell and are trying to become more self-sufficient, to me, is a homestead. And becoming more self-sufficient should be the goal of every homestead. It's really, like you said, unless you're out in the middle of the jungle somewhere and there's nothing available, you're not self-sufficient.
No, and I do agree that one of our goals when we moved here and we bought property was we both have health issues, and we have 8 children, and 4 of those children are special needs. And so we knew that when we bought a property and wherever we were going to go, that we were going to have special challenges that maybe other homesteading or off-grid families don't have. I was in a wheelchair for a few years, and so I'm not going to be able to go outside and haul, enough water for a family of 9, because we just have 7 kids living at home right now. I can't haul water. And a couple of my kids have some health issues that we've been working on through nutrition and through diet. And so we just knew that if we decided to get a piece of property and we jumped in a tent and we were pumping our water from a well and we were doing our laundry from scratch, that we probably wouldn't eat the first year because we wouldn't be able to set up gardens.
We would have failed.
We would have failed.
Set ourselves up for failure because we just weren't physically capable of handling that amount of labor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we knew that the best way to get ourselves healed from the different diseases that we have was to grow our own food and to slowly get strong and slowly get healthy, which all the kids and both of us were feeling better. We're being more active. We're healthier. People have lost weight. People that needed to gain weight, gained weight. And so we knew that we didn't want to just jump off the cliff without a parachute and then not succeed. And for us, it wasn't a matter of, can we be so off-grid and hardcore? And that wasn't our goal. Our goal was to move to a piece of land, to grow food, and to get healthy. Now, if that means someday going off-grid, that could happen.
I think everyone should plan for the eventuality of possibly being without municipal resources. So everyone should gather rainwater. Everyone should try to have a backup plan, whether it's a generator or a solar generator or something, some other plan to how to function on your homestead when the supplies and the power and the water aren't able to come in. Can you survive, basically? So everyone should be trying to be at the place where they're more survival, more self-sufficient, and able to survive on their own without outside. And we're far from that. We are so far from that. If there weren't stores 20 miles down the road, we'd be starved up,
toast.
Dried up, and raisined out. Yeah.
And we know that, and we're humble enough to realize that we still buy a lot of food from the grocery store, and we've done a lot of work the last 6 months on the property, but we're not anywhere close to where we'd like to be. And and even you don't even have to prepare for something huge like the zombie apocalypse, the full grid, everything shuts down. You could just live on the East Coast and you should be prepared for hurricanes. You should be prepared for earthquakes if you live on the West Coast.
Or Oklahoma.
Or Oklahoma, apparently, because we had an earthquake last week. But, just everywhere you live, you're going to have natural disasters, whether it's fire, floods, whatever. I do think that we need to be more self-sufficient. We need to be more prepared. Does that mean storing up 5,000 pounds of wheat in my basement? Not for me. That's not my goal. And that's a good goal for some people, but that's not our goals. Our goals right now are mostly to grow as much food as we can.
What are some reasons we're still connected to the grid? Why are you still connected to the grid?
Laziness,
The
back
house
problems.
the house we bought came with grid attached. I mean, what are you gonna do? Say no, I'm not gonna use electricity. But you know, these are things that you think about and you plan for. And when you move to a homestead, you've got 100 things right off the bat that you've got to do.
At least.
If the property has not been developed at all, which ours really wasn't. It's a house and land. Was it?
And forest. It was totally overgrown forest.
So, you know, there's so many things to do, and I know it's an important thing to do to work towards getting off grid, but money, you know, it's a limited resource and it has to go to certain things first before other things. And so I'm taking a gamble that our grid electricity will last a little while longer so I can get situated, and, you know, it's a gamble.
Every family needs to make priorities. For one person, it may be the most important thing is to get off grid. And that's what they're just totally bent on, and that needs to happen. And so that's what they do. That's what's most important. And maybe they didn't have a garden that first year because eating food from their yard that wasn't from the store and wasn't nutrient dense wasn't important to them. And that's fine because that's their family and their goals. And I think as each family unit makes these decisions, they've got to decide what is the most important thing to our family. Like, what do we need most? And for us, we weren't going to be able to homestead if we kept falling apart. If he keeps having heart attacks and I'm in the wheelchair, none of this is going to happen and it's not going to work. And we might have 8 kids, but they're not slaves. So it's not their job to take care of the property.
They're not very good slaves, at least.
They're terrible.
I try.
we try to get them to work more, but you know, they have school and they have friends and they have life. And so we just had to make that decision of what was going to be most important. And for us, it was food. Food was most important.
I was so shocked one day. I was walking through the forest and I felt something on my leg, and I looked down and it was just a little, like a shaded area. I thought it was a bruise, but the bruise was growing bigger as I watched. And then I realized that it was a whole nest of baby ticks, and they were spreading on my leg and going up and down and all over. And I freaked out and ran, and luckily I thought to get diatomaceous earth and just rub it all over my leg and all over everywhere. But I think I still ended up getting bit by a few of them at least, because there were literally hundreds.
Yeah.
I've been bit hundreds of times this summer. But
yeah,
that's the
that
one
was a
bad
shock.
thing about, you know, the one downside.
That's the one.
But to me,
the
it's kind of a blessing because of that one thing. Many people won't move to this area, and I'm fine with that. I like it the way it is.
Well, don't move here. There's too many
I'm sure
ticks.
people who lived here before I moved here thought the same way. But no, if you're not, if you don't like the outdoors and bugs freak you out, you're gonna have a hard time living in the Ozarks and being outdoors and doing gardening and all that stuff. You're gonna deal with bugs and mice and snakes and toads and hornets and, you know, all those things that you find in the country, and it's just part of what you deal with. We haven't had any bad experience really. No poisonous snake bites or wild raccoon attacks or nothing like that.
No, we had the little armadillo that was annoying, but he was really manageable. He didn't bring in his family and friends or anything. But I do like that we have stuff zoned off. I do like that Kenny's idea of the chickens, and so his plan is to put little, like, small chicken coops in different areas on the property for the chickens and the guineas, and then we'll just kind of move the chickens to the area that we want them to work. So the chickens are the best free labor. Half of the family eats eggs, the other half don't. So we'll end up with a lot of eggs that we won't be eating. But
dog food.
But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm thankful we moved here. The only downside is the ticks. But you know, ticks come in season out of season. The chickens and the guineas we're gonna eventually be able to tame and manage this wild land enough.
Our friends that have been here for a few years, they've got the tick situation under control. It's not even an issue anymore.
It's not even an issue at their properties.
They use poultry to their benefit.
Yeah, they rake the leaves away from everywhere. They just keep everything cleaned up and tidied. But this was totally untamed property. So so that this year is going to be the worst year. Next year is going to be easier, and we'll just keep making plans and keep plugging along and keep getting healthier and keep working together as a family here on our property. And we feel so blessed, and we're so happy that we moved here. And our kids are super happy. Our kids just love it, and they play outdoors all the time. And so, nope, we're not off grid, but we're still loving life.
We're aspiring off-gridders.
We're aspiring. Someday, when we have time and good health, we'll be doing it. And then we'll let you know about it. So thanks for watching. Sorry we didn't do a video last week. I was out of state visiting family, and I came home to a house full of sick people. So,
Welcome home.
so yeah, welcome home, the gift that keeps on giving, sick people. So sorry that we skipped last week, but I'm hoping that my next video is gonna be using that tomato paste that I fermented and showing you guys a recipe that we've tried out with it and how it worked really, really good for us. So yeah.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Have a great day. Thanks.